Alright, so today I have a little DIY thing that I want to do. I want to make a pinch block so that I can train grip with it, and I'm making it from a piece of pallet wood. So this right here, I took all the pieces of the pallet wood off of it, and I'm going to use this to make it. I also have an eye screw, which is going to be where the weights will attach. And then the other things that I'm using is a piece of, some wood glue, a putty knife and a pencil, a tape measure and a speed square, and then I have some sandpaper, wood screws, and a miter saw right here. You can use any type of saw, or just something that'll get it done. And then if you want to make it look better, I'm gonna use some stain, and I'm gonna use some what is this, wood filler, so that way I can fill in any holes and stuff that are left in it. So yeah, that's all the materials that I'm gonna use. Okay, so first I'm just gonna start off by getting the usable wood from this piece of pallet wood. So all these little chunks right here I'm not gonna use, so I'm gonna just cut those off and just save this big chunk and then the two smaller ones at the end. So to do that, I'm just going to get this chop saw right here, miter saw, and I'm just going to line it up like this, make sure that it's straight on, and then I'm just okay, so now I have three little usable pieces. You can use this for something else if you want to, but right now this is what I want to use. And then I'm gonna cut them to size. The width of my pinch block is going to be about the width of my palm, a little bit bigger. So I'm putting mine at 4.5 inches. So I'm just going to mark it off 4.5, and then I'll use the speed square to mark it straight and then cut it on the miter saw, so that way I can get a straight cut. And I'm gonna do that until I have about 3 pieces. So now I have my 3 blocks right here. As you can see, this is about a good fit for me. I have a little overhang with my fingers right there, my thumb, and then the width, it's pretty much just what my palm is right there. So this will be good because it means that whenever I put all 3 of them together, I'll have just enough space for my palm, so it won't be super wide on the sides, which it doesn't make a difference. If you prefer it that way, you can, so that way you can do double pinch, but I just wanted something where my hand will just perfectly line up. So next step is to prep this to stick them together. Okay, so next step, I have my sander. I'm just going to go over all these pieces right here with some 60 grit. That way I can prep them for gluing. Okay, so all my pieces are prepped. I sanded just the inside faces, not the outside ones. I'll do that at the end, so that way I have a smooth grabbing surface. Then what I'm gonna do next is put some of this wood glue on. You can use any wood glue that you have. This is just a pretty good one. So I'm gonna put that in, and then my wood screws, they're not long enough for all 3 blocks, so I'm gonna put some in this way, and then I'm gonna put some in the other way like that. As you can see, now all the screws are in, and I did get 2 little cracks right here that run across the top of this because the wood was a little bit pulled out this way, so whenever I screwed it in, it made it lean in and it made it get a little crack. So I'm just gonna fill those, and I'll have that be my bottom. That way I still have a strong surface at the top for me to grab onto, and I'm not gonna add any wear to that crack. And then most of the weight is gonna be on this center block and then distributed to get across because of those screws. So as long as I put it right in the center of that middle block, nothing should really happen with that crack. And if you wanted, you could just leave it like this and just add a sealant or something so the wood lasts longer and you'd be good. I want to make it look a little bit better, so I'm going to cover up all my screw holes, and I'm going to cover up these little pallet nail imperfections that are there, and then the creases too, or the seams of the wood, if I can. Okay, so I got this all covered in wood filler now, so all over the seams. After this, I'll give it a sanding, and then after the sanding, I'll go back over any touch-up areas that I gotta do. But for now, this is what it looks like. Okay, so here I have the block. It's all sanded down, and then I also sanded the corners a little bit, so that way they'd be flat whenever you grab it. So I'd be grabbing it this way. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stain it over top, And I'm using a dark stain so that way these different color patches like hopefully won't be as noticeable. And then after it's stained, then I'll drill a hole and then I'll put in my eye screw. Alright, so before I stain it, I just have a little bit of alcohol. I'm gonna put it on this pad. I'm just gonna wipe it down so that way there won't be any residue from the sanding on top of the block, and all the stain will stick to it. And then I'm using alcohol because it dries faster than the water, so all I have to do is just give it a couple wipes like this. And then there won't be any dust residue left on it. I'm just going to give it a little bit of time to dry, and then I can start applying the stain. Okay, so I have my stain here. This is the one I'm using. So I wonder if you can see that. Yeah. Alrighty, so the block is fully stained. As you can see, it looks really nice. It does have its little like imperfections like here and there, but overall I think it looks pretty good, especially for having come from pallet wood. I think this looks really nice, and I'm using it to exercise anyway. So the last step is to put a little piece of tape on top of here, so that way when I drill into it, it won't splinter out, and then I'll make the hole to put the eye screw in. So to do that, I just got a matching drill bit to the eye screw, and then I already tested it out on this piece of wood. I tested it out, see if it would fit snugly and if it would go through or if it would crack the wood or what would happen. And everything seems fine. It has enough room for it to still grab onto the threads. So that's the drill bit that I'm gonna use. And that's how you guys can pick out your own if you guys follow along with this. So like I said, I'll just put on some tape right here, and then I'll measure out to find the exact center, and then I'll drill a pilot hole first and then put it in. So I'll show you guys that right now. Okay, so width wise, the block measures about 4 1/8. I'll measure it again from the side where I didn't cut the chamfer, so yeah, 4 1/8. So I'll put that right here, 4 1/8. Half of that would be 2 1/16, and then lengthwise it measures out at exactly 4 1/2, which was the measurement that I used at first. So 4 1/2 and split up would be 2 1/4. So those are the measurements that I'm gonna use, and I'll mark out my dot. Okay, so you can't really see my cross, but there it is. And then because my pencil lead was like really thick, I made it so that way the center is like right there at the little intersection. So not right in the center right there, but rather the corner, and that's where I'm gonna drill. So first I have a little small drill bit attached to an impact, and then I'll drill out the center as a pilot hole before I go to use the big one. And that just helps, so again, like, you don't start moving all over the place. The pilot hole helps it stay in one spot. And now a little trick that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure out right here and mark it on my tape. So I'll leave a little bit over so that way this forms its own threads. And so like right there is where I'm gonna put a little piece of masking tape. Okay, so there's my masking tape. So this is how far I'm gonna go in. So I put it back in, and now I just go down as far until that piece of tape reaches. Okay, so my phone died, so the video cut off, but all I did was drill the hole. I think that still got captured. Now I'm gonna take this piece of tape off right here. So I just grab one of the corners, and when I pull it off, the hole is right there. Now all I need to do is I'm gonna push a little piece of the wood in, and then I start the eye screw by hand. So I'm gonna try to do it where you guys can see on camera, but you just try to keep it as straight as possible. Okay, see? And then I'm gonna turn it by hand. So okay, and there we go. So it's basically done. So this is my DIY pinch block from a pallet. And now to show it in action, here I have 40 pounds and the block is attached. So here we go. So that's 40. Now let's put 50, and I don't think I can do it with one hand, so I'll do it with both just to show that it'll handle the weight. Okay, so here's 50 pounds, as you can see, and then I'll try it with one hand. Okay, so I was able to do it with one hand. So there you go. And then I'm gonna take it out just to show the bottom, so you guys can see that there's no damage whatsoever. There we go. That's a DIY pallet pinch block.